Hi, it's Stefania over at Sleep Stories and Classic Fairy Tales for Kids, and we're back with the second half, the conclusion of the Tongue-Cut Sparrow, the Japanese fairy tale. If you remember last time, the old gentleman farmer had received a present from the Sparrow Fairy. He told his wife about it, but he also told his wife that he took the smaller package because it would be easier to carry. And because the wife was so greedy, she wanted the larger one, and she was determined to get it. So she found out where the Sparrow Fairy lived, and she was determined to go there. And here we go. The old man now wished he had said nothing about the big box, but it was too late. The greedy old woman, not contented with the good luck which had so unexpectedly befallen them, and which she so little deserved, made up her mind, if possible, to get more. Early the next morning she got up and made the old man describe the way to the sparrow's house. When he saw what was in her mind, he tried to keep her from going, but it was useless. She would not listen to one word he said. It is strange that the old woman did not feel ashamed of going to see the sparrow after the cruel way she had treated her in cutting off her tongue in a fit of rage. But her greed to get the big box made her forget everything else. It did not even enter her thoughts that the sparrows might be angry with her, as indeed they were, and might punish her for what she had done. Ever since the Lady Sparrow had returned home in the sad plight in which they had first found her, weeping, her whole family and relationships had done little else but speak of the cruelty of the old woman. How could she, they asked each other, inflict such a heavy punishment for such a trifling offense as that of eating some rice paste by mistake? They all loved the old man, who was so kind and good and patient under all his troubles, but the old woman they hated, and they determined, if they ever had a chance, to punish her as she deserved. They had not long to wait. After walking for some hours, the old woman had at last found the bamboo grove, which she had made her husband carefully describe, and now she stood before it, crying out, "Where is the Tongue-Cut Sparrow's house? Where is the Tongue-Cut Sparrow's house?" At last she saw the eaves of the house peeping out from amongst the bamboo foliage. She hastened to the door and knocked loudly. When the servants told the Lady Sparrow that her old mistress was at the door, asking to see her, she was somewhat surprised at the unexpected visit. After all that had taken place, and she wondered not a little at the boldness of the old woman in venturing to come to the house. The Lady Sparrow, however, was a polite bird, so she went out to greet the old woman, remembering that she had once been her mistress. The old woman intended, however, to waste no time in words. She went right to the point, without the least shame, and said, "You need not trouble to entertain me as you did my old man. I have come myself to get the box which he so stupidly left behind. I shall soon take my leave if you will give me the big box. That is all I want." The Lady Sparrow at once consented, and told her servants to bring out the big box. The old woman eagerly seized it and hoisted it on her back, and without even stopping to thank the Lady Sparrow, began to hurry homewards. The box was so heavy that she could not walk fast, much less run, as she would have liked to do. So anxious was she to get home and see what was inside the box. But she had often to sit down and rest herself by the way. While she was staggering along under the heavy load, her desire to open the box became too great to be resisted. She could wait no longer, for she supposed this big box to be full of gold and silver and precious jewels like the small one her husband had received. At last, this greedy and selfish old woman put down the box by the wayside and opened it carefully, expecting to gloat her eyes on a mine of wealth. What she saw, however, so terrified her that she nearly lost her senses. As soon as she lifted the lid, a number of horrible and frightful-looking demons bounced out of the box and surrounded her as if they intended to kill her. Not even in nightmares has she ever seen such horrible creatures as her much-coveted box contained. A demon with one huge eye in the middle of his forehead came and glared at her. Monsters with gaping mouths looked as if they would devour her. A huge snake coiled and hissed about her. And a big frog hopped and croaked toward her. The old woman had never been so frightened in her life and ran from that spot as fast as her quaking legs would carry her, glad to escape alive. When she reached home, she fell to the floor and told her husband with tears all that had happened to her and how she had been nearly killed by the demons in the box. Then she began to blame the sparrow, but the old man stopped her at once, saying, "Don't blame the sparrow. It is your wickedness which has at last met its reward. I only hope this may be a lesson to you in the future." The old woman said nothing, and from that day, she repented of her cross, unkind ways, and by degrees became a good old woman, so that her husband hardly knew her to be the same person, and they spent their last days together happily, free from want or care, spending carefully the treasure the old man had received from his pet, the tongue-cut sparrow. Well, how about that? How about that for a turnaround? The old woman saw the error of her ways. The sparrow and her relatives only wanted to show her that was not the way to go, that was not the way to be, that was not kind. And we are lucky she learned the lesson, and she and the old man lived happily ever after. All their needs were met, and all ended well and peaceful. So, we'll be back again soon with another story. We'll carry on with Uncle Wiggily's adventures. What has he gotten into lately, I wonder? We'll have to check and see. We'll be back very soon with Uncle Wiggily's adventures, the next chapter. And if you want to know when that's going to happen, be sure to subscribe and click on that notification button so YouTube can tell you the story is ready and waiting to entertain you. And we've also got a song coming up quite soon, so hitting that notification button will let you know when that song is ready. Sing along, we'll all sing it together, and we'll all have a really good time. That's it for now. Stay well, be good.